Morning all, it's 8:57, it's a beautiful sunny morning. I'm on my way to Gerrard's Cross to pick up Dan for another episode of The Plan. Today we're going to be talking about what are conspiracy theories, why do they exist, who believes in them, where do they come from, all of that stuff. So stick around. So, this week, conspiracy theories. Where do they come from? Who starts them?
TikTok.
TikTok probably does now.
Yeah.
I mean, they've always been around. I remember 20 odd years ago, obviously, with the Twin Towers and all the rest of it, there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
What was it called? Loose Change, the film?
You still see lots of that sort of conspiracy theories on that.
Well, that was a big one, wasn't it? Things
Yeah.
like that. And then that triggered people to go and look at things like the JFK assassination.
Right.
And
They've just released all the documents for that, haven't
They
they?
have, yeah.
Did you?
I haven't looked.
No, me neither.
No. I mean, I'm sure if there's anything revelationary, it'll be on the news.
Well, apparently it was
TikTok.
bad because there's a lot of sort of techniques and stuff that the Secret Service and the FBI still kind of use in active investigations, and it was unredacted. They just released everything.
Oh,
Yeah, and
Oops.
the agencies weren't very pleased with old DT.
no, I bet they were.
He who shall not be mentioned. But yeah, the pyramids, that's my favourite one.
That's been especially recently. They've done some scans. Apparently, I haven't actually seen this anywhere apart from TikTok. Apparently, they've scanned underneath the pyramids and there's some stuff under there.
Penetrating radar.
But I don't even know if that's true.
No,
Maybe they haven't done that at all.
No.
And if they have found interesting stuff, why is it not on the news?
I don't know.
And what do people get out of a conspiracy? I've got some
It's
friends.
exciting, isn't it? It's like a story. It's
It
like a
is,
film.
but I think there's more to it. In that, I remember reading somewhere years ago, and I've always remembered this, that people that don't believe in religion, don't have, the whole God thing,
Yeah.
they like a conspiracy more.
What do you mean, don't believe in God?
Okay, let's not go there. That's a whole other episode. Good episode that could be, though.
Yeah.
But apparently, you're more likely to believe in conspiracies if you don't have a belief system based on religion, because you want to believe that someone somewhere is in control of everything,
Yeah.
even if they're like nefarious.
Yeah.
You like the idea that someone somewhere is in control.
I think it is exciting, but people genuinely do believe it. I always like Keanu Reeves's view on this. He said, I'm not going to share my views with you, and I'm really not interested in you sharing yours with me. I just hope you have a nice day,
Yeah.
Because it used to be, and we've mentioned this before, you could go to the pub and disagree with people about things like this and still have a nice time. But people
No.
get really upset, don't they, about it?
People do. Yeah. I've got a couple of friends who are very big on conspiracies. Literally believe them, think that I'm a bit stupid for not believing them.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, isn't it? Is that people get so into it.
Yeah.
And obviously the way the internet works, it's like an echo chamber. If you Google the pyramids enough, that's all it's going to show you. If you look at enough conspiracy stuff, it will just show you more, which will convince you it's real.
I did actually listen to a podcast on the way back from holiday last week on MH370. Do you remember that? The Malaysian Airlines plane that disappeared.
Of course, yeah. Aren't they starting to look for that again?
Are they?
Apparently there's another search going. But again,
there's the video with the orbs.
Yeah.
And it flew all off in weird sort of directions, and
I mean that's a mystery rather than a conspiracy.
Mystery. Yeah, that's what they
used to be.
That's what they used to be. Yeah.
Here's something we don't understand. I wonder what happened there.
Yeah.
And what happened was people went, I know what happened there.
Yeah.
And they make up some mental story, and then now it's a conspiracy.
And the thing is, you can pick bits of information and cobble it together to make anything
Yeah.
sort of seem vaguely believable. I think
Yeah.
that's...
I remember that with the Twin Towers stuff. There was all the stuff about the trades that were going on the day before. You know,
Yeah.
why are people suddenly,
Yeah.
selling stock in airlines and that?
Yeah.
It's like, well, hang on. Did that actually happen? Where's the people that... I mean,
That's it. Yeah.
I believe maybe that did happen, but let's see some actual proof, because
Yeah.
there was a time when if you said something like that on a TV show, you had to have proof,
Yeah.
and the internet did away with that. You can say whatever you like on YouTube, no one cares.
Vaccines, that's another one, isn't it? The thing that strikes me about conspiracies is that, the governments seem completely incapable of running a country, let alone running global conspiracies.
Can you imagine if the government did get together and went, right, we're going to inject everybody with some stuff that's going to enable us to control them using 5G? How do we do that?
I heard somebody else say...
Not a chance.
What was the other one? Oh, yeah, Alexa. That's it. Make sure you turn your Alexa off when you're talking. It's like, what have you got on your phone?
Yeah, exactly.
You've
Your
got a
phone hears
GPS.
everything.
Yeah.
We've just set off a load of Alexas everywhere now. They've all gone...
Alexa.
People are going to hate that.
Yes.
Anyway.
Suddenly occurred to me, this conspiracy theories thing.
Yeah.
That even talking about it is almost like a conspiracy. It's like a self-completing circle. It's almost like a conspiracy theory in itself.
The fact that we're talking about conspiracy
theories, yeah. And I was saying that I think they can be used on social media to take people's attention away from the realities of what's actually going on in the world, and that could be a conspiracy theory.
I've just thought of one of the oldest conspiracy theories, which has often been talked about like that. UFOs.
UFOs, yeah.
Which, if you dig into UFOs a bit, I was quite interested for a while. I really dug into it. And the first UFO sightings were Foo Fighters, which were things that bomber crews used to see in the Second World War over Germany. All those sightings over Germany stopped at the end of the Second World War, and UFO sightings started around 1947 in America. And it's like, well, that's convenient. So whatever technology you stole from Germany, you then took back to America. That's where it started. Or that's when you started working on stuff like stealth and experimental aircraft and all the rest of it. You needed a cover story. Therefore, you put out a few UFO stories. Everyone's convinced when they see something weird in the sky, it's a UFO.
Well, or people were out, actually, that's when people were flying.
Yeah.
So that's when they did see stuff.
Yeah.
But UFOs, it's quite a broad term now, isn't it? There were these orbs over American air bases.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, and the drones.
There's been a lot, isn't there? And it's changed. They don't call them UFOs anymore, do they? They call it, UAPs?
Is it?
Unidentified Aerial Phenomena or something.
Ah.
I think.
Good acronym.
But it's like, it's become synonymous with little green men, but well, I think everyone's...
Well, Roswell, I thought that's what you were going to say. That was one of the original ones,
Yeah, well, that was 47, which was, where they initially admitted it, and then very quickly said, no one said that, and covered it up and all the rest of it.
The Greys.
Yeah, and all of that stuff. I mean, it's perfect for covering up military experimentation, isn't it? No, it was a UFO. And there's been stuff ever since.
So what do you think about this? Because the idea is that they're developing these things that can move very quickly and create their own gravitational field using complex magnetism and what have you. And there's video evidence, isn't there, of these things moving very quickly, shooting straight up.
Yeah.
Do you think it's military, or do you think it's UFO, or do you think it's
Well, interestingly, I had a few meetings with an author who studied this years ago. And he wrote a book called The Hunt for Zero Point, and the guy's name is Nick Cook. Very, very intelligent, clever guy. Has written some award-winning books. And his study on all of this was that it was a real form of technology in the 50s that had been discovered, like this gravitational field theory. And it had just been subdued by the newly sort of established jet propulsion industry, because they were aware that was going to make a fortune selling fuel. And no one wanted to give that up.
No.
Because if you discover something that basically runs off nothing, 0 point energy is literally in
well, it's like they
everywhere.
reckon that they can Here we go, conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Power cars with the hydrogen from water.
Yeah. Well, there's famously the guy that invented the car that ran on water disappeared.
Did he?
Yeah. And it's
Or
like
was that just a conspiracy theory?
well, exactly.
Yeah,
Who knows?
yeah.
So did the car disappear. So no one knows. It's like this stuff is clever in that it disproves itself and proves itself all at the same
Yeah.
time. No one knows where they are, and that's the perfect conspiracy. Just credible enough that people start to believe it. But so impossible to prove in any way.
So, what about then? Because I am actually quite interested in the pyramids. And I know that's very fashionable because there's been this recent release of the ground we've just discussed earlier in the
They've
car.
discovered the big columns, haven't they?
Underneath and the water and stuff.
Well,
and
they say they have. I've
okay.
only seen it on social media. I've not seen it on the news.
But have you looked?
Yeah. And all I've seen is
There's
that...
not a peer-reviewed scientific paper released.
No.
I mean, I was going to get into that, but what about the actual building of the pyramids? You know, was it rolled on wood and
Well,
wet sand and big
Again,
ramps? And
there's two very different theories, isn't there? One is, well, obviously we know they predate the Egyptians by thousands of years. So they weren't built by the Egyptians. When Cleopatra was alive, we're closer in time to that to when the pyramids were built.
Yeah.
That's one of those weird, interesting facts. So we know it was built by some ancient civilization, and obviously a lot of people go, no, those stones are too big, they come from too far away, that was aliens helping with UFOs, whatever else. Some guy online recently built a bunch of tools and showed you how he alone could move those stones on his own, twist them, get them into place and stack them. And these things like enormous. And he basically built a bunch of tools that did it. And it was all built out of wood, and he built this sort of like bumpy path that was just the right curvature of bumps that you could just roll the stones. And he goes, this weighs a ton, watch me roll it as if it weighs nothing.
it's like they talk about the heads on
the
Easter Islands,
yeah.
and they reckon they walked those.
Yeah.
And that was how they did those.
I think we assume that,
I think
people 5,000 years ago were idiots, but they might not have had the technology what now, they might have had different technology.
And what they did have was time.
Yeah, they weren't short time, there's nothing else to do.
No,
it's not like I've got to finish this by 7 because EastEnders is on. Nothing is on for 5,000 years.
But they probably did have wives wondering where they were.
Yeah, well, I'm not being funny. Where are you going? Popping down the pub. Oh no, they haven't invented that yet.
No, we're still building that pyramid.
Yeah.
You know, the one down...
Yeah, the one you've been building for 1,000 years. Yeah. Different time. But I'm just as easily convinced if someone wants to convince me that, all right, maybe there was an alien civilization that built that stuff. Why is that out of the realms of possibility? It's not.
It's not.
There's
no.
more chances
Because
there are plenty of other civilizations than there isn't.
Other things, well,
Well, there just is. There's a billion galaxies. Of course there's other people out there. They're probably too smart to come and interact with us.
Yeah, well, exactly that. But, the universe is a very chaotic place, and the fact that we've developed into a self-aware, intelligent species there's a very slim chance of that happening, isn't there?
I think we've developed into a bunch of muppets. I think anyone that looks at us from another planet just goes, nope,
speak for yourself.
We'll give them a miss.
Anyway, where were we? Pyramids.
Yeah, pyramids.
There's the symmetry thing as well, isn't there? Got all of these carvings and statues. And the other thing is with the pyramids, the rooms inside. It's not. There's never any hieroglyphs found.
No.
There's never any mummies found.
No.
And
they're all at a certain angle. Aren't
yeah,
they?
it's all weird.
It is all weird. The other thing that's interesting, there's all these hieroglyphs and depictions of all the different things they did in their society. There's not one depiction of anyone building.
No.
Anywhere.
No.
There's not a picture of someone moving a block. Or
There you
doing
go.
anything like that.
See, it is interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting. Yeah, it's a big mystery.
Yeah. Mystery.
Mystery conspiracy.
Yeah,
There's
two things, aren't they?
Yeah, they are two things.
Yeah.
But what conspiracies are like prevalent every day? Well, I'll tell you one which was every day for a while. Back in COVID days,
Yeah.
we had the
vaccines.
The vaccines.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of shit going on about that.
Yeah.
And one of the funniest things I read recently was all these people now out. I say all these people. There are people out there having all kinds of injections, and taking all kinds of drugs for weight loss, Ozempic and all that stuff. Yeah, stick it in me, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Botox,
Yeah,
stick it in
yeah.
there. Vaccine, keep you alive. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
Could be anything in there. It's like, really?
That's exactly what I think. That's
Really?
exactly what I think.
It's
Yeah.
like, come on, you don't question what's in a Botox
No.
needle, you don't question what's in your Ozempic, you just
Yeah.
believe because it's doing something you think is going to make you look
Mm.
better. However, something that's going to save your life, you're a bit suspicious of.
It's also interesting that I sort of noted that often the people that talk about anti-vaccines and stuff, it's often silly o'clock in the morning and
Yeah.
they're sat around taking drugs that they've bought in the street.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, exactly, that's an extreme version, but if you're going to snort anything or if you're going to pop a pill, never ever come at me with that whole thing, oh, you don't know what's in it. What, and you think your
Yeah.
local drug dealer
Yeah.
gives a shit what's in that?
Yeah.
You're not questioning it.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Well, it just shows how fucking stupid most people are.
Well, it shows how, I think, and again, it's the death scroll. It shows how people's mind can be trained to believe facts that are delivered to them in 30-second videos.
Yeah, it's true. It's the perfect mind control device, isn't it? The
Yeah.
phone combined with social media,
Yep.
ironically, which we're on right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Controlling your brain and giving you all your information now.
But-
all
and-
of it. How many times now do people get facts from the news?
Well, I said to you, didn't I, that I broke out I've got a big iPad
Yeah,
Pro.
you read newspaper every day.
Yeah,
online,
so I make sure when I wake up in the morning, I put my phone down and I actually read Apple News. I read the fake news media, as
But the problem is with the news, even is like, I don't know, 3/4 of the newspapers owned by Rupert Murdoch. They've got an agenda, clearly.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean all the editors are in on it. Some, a lot of the stuff obviously in there is genuine and true. But trying to fish out what's not trying to make you think a certain way. In the UK, we obviously know that you've got the Guardian and the Telegraph on the two different sides of the political spectrum. You know that one's going to be biased that way, that one's going to be biased that way. You've got the red tops in the middle who could swing either way, depending on how they feel. It's you're sort of aware of that political bias.
Yep.
But you're also kind of think generally, they're not actually going to tell me a lie about something important.
Well, the trick is to read. I mean, at least that's opinion based.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing about Apple News is you get the Times and you get, the Sun to be honest, I draw the line at the Mail.
Yeah,
Or
most
the
people
Express.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how many people read that still.
I know.
The Daily Mail.
I know.
And it's one of these, I'm a very open-minded person, but if I see somebody sat reading a Daily Mail, they get a touch and a head shake.
Yeah, but it's again, they've become their website or their app is
Mail
sort
Online.
of it's become like a drug.
It's like is that the celebrity one?
Yeah,
all
it's just like
celebrity
it's that pain of pictures of celebs and stories about celebs.
Yeah.
And they just rope you in with something like, oh, hang on, I haven't seen anything about them. What's this? And then you're in.
I was going to say I couldn't be less interested in celebrities, but God, that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing dragged me in.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, I'm the same. I don't give a toss about celebrities really, but it's you can't help it sometimes if it's someone you're vaguely interested in their career or whatever, and you see something interesting about them, you can't help but dive in sometimes, which is a shame. It's rotting. I think it's rotting young people's brains.
Yeah, I agree.
But
then they said that when we were young. They said the same about video games and about video nasties. Do you remember the parental advisory explicit lyrics?
Yeah.
Yep. So there's always going to be something poisoning young people's minds.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. I've never worried about
Whether it's Joe Rogan
swearing in songs.
Whether it's
and
Joe
stuff.
Rogan or Ice T.
Yeah, but again, that all looks so innocent now.
I know,
If
yeah.
you look at the stuff that people were worried about when we were kids, it's ridiculous. It was a bit of swearing.
Yeah.
And maybe a song about drugs and guns. In reality, a lot of those guys, like, Ice Cube, NWA, he went to college.
Yeah.
He really liked that.
Yeah, well, he was known to be quite cerebral, wasn't he?
Yeah, and
But it's interesting. I went to, when I was quite young, I went to a christening, and I don't know if it's probably not called a eulogy, but the vicar's sort of giving a bit of a talk.
Yeah.
And he talks about the
Sermon.
Sermon.
Think so.
about the boundaries of acceptance being pushed further and further back, generation by generation.
Yeah.
And I've never forgotten that, you know, because there was a time when talking about guns and swearing, you know, was considered offensive.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's par for the course.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, now they actually make computer games where you win points for raping people and stealing, you know, drug
Yeah, I
dealers.
mean, I think that is twisted.
Drugs.
That is a bit unnecessary. That doesn't need to
Grand
exist.
Theft Auto?
Yeah,
GTA?
Grand Theft Auto. Yeah.
GTA.
Yeah. Which, you know, I've played a lot of that.
Have you?
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Is it?
Yeah. But it's, you know, there is those scenes in there. It is a bit insane that exists.
I've never been into computer games.
I've never got into it much. I bought an Xbox, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, played it a bit. I never get addicted to it. It was good to pass the time sometimes. But no.
So favourite conspiracy theory?
Favourite conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
I mean, I do like this. I mean, I say do like. I find it fascinating that people believe Elvis is still alive, you know, on an island with Michael Jackson
Yeah.
and Frank Sinatra or whatever, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
That, I mean, obviously not true, but that would be quite fun.
The moon. Sorry. Go
And
on.
the moon one's a good
The
one.
moon
'cause-
landings. Yeah. How do you know that we've been to the moon? Well, because there's a mirror on it that we bounce lasers off to measure the distance.
Yeah, you
'Cause
can't
can see.
fool that many people. You just can't.
No.
So,
Flat Earth. That's another. I know, and I've actually met people
Yeah.
that do believe in it, like flat Earth.
Yeah, I've spoken to a couple. Yeah, yeah, that's insane. That's just idiotic. It's all those people who's like, oh, I saw one the other day. It said
It's
about
the ice wall, isn't it?
yeah, the ice wall, and also someone was saying if that was true, when a rocket goes up and comes straight back down again, why does it land in the same place? Why hasn't the Earth moved? And it's like, you know, what are you talking about? It's just. I think it's funny because it shows a real lack of education.
Yeah. Well, it shows that they've picked up the facts from a 30-minute reel on Instagram or a TikTok video.
Yeah. But I would say my favourite one is probably the whole UFO thing, because it's one I'd quite like to believe in.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that they had captured UFOs
Yeah.
and they're experimenting on them and they're not telling us.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I think pyramids is my favourite.
Yeah, you love a bit of the pyramid
I
thing,
do.
don't you?
I do. I get sucked into the pyramid thing. Yeah.
You need to go.
Yeah.
You need to go and have a look.
Yeah, well, who was it who went? Was it Bradley Walsh or someone recently and wanted to believe that they were built by aliens and were
Yeah.
power, you know, sources of power and stuff? And
Yeah.
he got there and he said, when you get there, you realise actually they were built by people. And, you know,
They're a bit shit.
yeah, not a bit shit. It's a very impressive monument. I mean, the tallest thing built. The next thing that was built that was as tall as they are was the
Yeah.
Eiffel Tower, wasn't it? In the 1800s.
That's amazing. You know, I went to Italy a couple of years ago and that blew my mind, some of that, some of the Roman
Yeah, amazing.
buildings, but specifically the Pantheon in Rome, which is still standing and work, you know, as good as new kind of thing, built out of concrete in Roman times. And I think I might have mentioned this before, but they invented concrete. They built these incredible structures, huge for the time. I mean, it's huge now.
Yeah.
It must have blown their minds all that long ago. You know, we're talking 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And then at some point after that, people forgot how to make concrete.
Yeah.
And it had to be reinvented
There you
again.
go.
And they can't do it as good now as they did then. Apparently the concrete then had something in it that meant when it cracked, it fixed itself. I mean,
But what have they ever done for us?
what have they ever done for us? Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's. I mean, that could easily be a conspiracy, but there's a much better historic record of all that stuff.
Yeah.
So and that's all it is, isn't it? You need a provable track record.
Yeah,
of
you do. Yeah.
This was actually done by people.
Yeah. Yeah. About lunchtime, isn't it?
About lunchtime. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. What is the time? Oh, it is literally lunchtime.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
there you go. Please like the video.
Subscribe to the channel and you can watch this in various places now. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, I think Amazon Podcasts, and obviously the usual place. There's a load of shorts online and all that kind of stuff.
Listen to it as a podcast. It will send you to sleep. That's what I do. But I don't listen to myself, obviously. I listen to
Yeah, you do.
other podcasts. Yeah.
Anyway, adios.